All right, so you want to prove your English, right? Who doesn't? Today, we're going to deep dive into how reading can seriously level up your skills and not in the boring old textbook way.
Yeah.
We're talking about unlocking your brain's natural learning power
Mm.
by doing something you probably already enjoy.
Well, and the cool thing about reading is that it's not just about memorizing vocabulary and grammar rules.
Yeah.
It's really more like you're immersing yourself in the language itself. You're like absorbing its essence, its DNA,
Right,
you know?
so we're talking about way more than just learning new words, right?
Mm.
I mean, our sources talk about some pretty amazing cognitive benefits, too.
Yeah, definitely. Or every time you read, you're kind of exposing your brain to the natural rhythms and structures of English. It's like learning music. You wouldn't just, memorize notes.
Mhm.
You'd listen to the melodies, get a feel for the rhythm.
Mhm.
Reading does the same thing for language.
So instead of getting all bogged down with grammar rules,
Mhm.
we're letting our brains kind of absorb the patterns naturally.
Exactly. And that's how you build real fluency. It's
Mhm.
not just about knowing the words, it's about understanding how they all fit together, how they create meaning. Reading helps you internalize those subtle nuances so your own speaking and writing become more natural, more effortless.
Our sources actually list 5 key benefits: expanding vocabulary, improving grammar, naturally enhancing pronunciation and fluency, boosting comprehension skills,
Mm-hmm.
and even training your brain to think in English.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious about the pronunciation part, though. How does reading impact that? I mean, we usually think about speaking and listening as being key for pronunciation.
Well, it's all connected. When you read, you're not just passively taking in words, you're also hearing them in your mind, even if you're not reading aloud. This helps strengthen the link between the written word and the sound, which makes it easier to pronounce things correctly when you do speak.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's like you're building this mental sound library,
Mm.
and the more you read, the bigger and more diverse that library becomes.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why engaging with a variety of materials is so important. Different genres, different writing styles expose you to different rhythms, tones, even accents. It all helps you develop a richer understanding of spoken English.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've established that reading has all these awesome benefits.
Right.
But now comes the big question. What should we actually be reading to get the most out of it?
Yeah.
And luckily, our sources have some really interesting suggestions.
Absolutely. And one of the things they really stress is that there's no one-size-fits-all approach. The best reading material is something you genuinely enjoy, something that makes you want to keep reading.
Right, because forcing yourself to read something you find boring
Oh, yeah.
is a surefire way to give up.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
got to find that sweet spot where learning feels effortless because you're so engrossed in what you're reading.
I love that.
Yeah.
And our sources actually give us a pretty diverse list of recommendations, everything from graded readers to comics to news articles to classic novels.
Mm.
It's like a buffet for language learners.
That's a great analogy. And just like at a buffet, you want to sample a variety of dishes to get a well-rounded experience.
I was actually surprised to see comics on the list. What do you think? Can those really be beneficial, or are they just for fun?
Oh no, comics are fantastic for language learning. They combine visuals with dialogue, which makes things more engaging. And they often use a lot of everyday language,
Hmm.
like slang and idioms,
Mhm.
which are really important for sounding natural.
It's like a secret window into how people actually talk,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
The kind of language you might not find in a textbook.
Exactly. And for those who prefer a more structured approach, graded readers are a great option.
Right. Those are the books that are specifically written for language learners with simplified vocabulary and grammar.
That's right. They're tailored to different proficiency levels, so it's like having training wheels for your reading. You can gradually work your way up to more challenging materials as you gain confidence.
I love that analogy. And speaking of confidence, I'm really intrigued by the idea of using subtitles or even movie scripts.
Oh, that's a clever one. You're basically connecting with content you already enjoy. It's like a sneaky way to learn while watching your favorite movies or TV shows.
Yeah, because you already know the story and the characters.
Mm.
It's easier to pick up new words and phrases just from the context.
And because you're hearing the language spoken at the same time, your brain is making those connections between the written and spoken forms.
It's like having a built-in decoder ring for vocabulary. I remember when I first started watching movies with English subtitles, I was amazed by how much I was learning without even realizing it.
It just goes to show how powerful immersive learning can be. When you surround yourself with the language in different forms, it starts to seep into your subconscious.
Absolutely. So we've got these more modern options, but our sources also highlight the importance of classic literature.
Yeah, classics are essential for a few reasons. They expose you to a richer vocabulary, more complex sentence structures, and a variety of writing styles that have stood the test of time.
Plus, they often deal with universal themes, like love and loss and the human condition, things that transcend language barrier.
Exactly. So even if you come across some difficult vocabulary, the underlying message will still resonate with you.
For beginners, our sources recommend starting with something like The Little Prince or Charlotte's Web.
Those are beautifully written stories that will capture your imagination while gently introducing you to the beauty of English prose.
Progress, you can tackle more challenging classics like Pride and Prejudice or To Kill a Mockingbird.
It's like leveling up in the game of English fluency. Each book you conquer unlocks new skills and expands your horizons.
I like that. And we shouldn't forget about news articles either. They're obviously great for staying informed, but they also give you a taste of more formal writing, which can be really helpful for academic or professional writing.
Absolutely. News articles often use complex sentence structures and sophisticated vocabulary, which can be incredibly beneficial for your own writing.
So it's not just about passively absorbing information. It's about actively analyzing how the language is being used and trying to use those same techniques in your own writing.
Exactly. And remember, the key is to choose materials that genuinely interest you.
Right.
Whether it's fashion, sports, technology, whatever it is, there's something out there for everyone.
Because when you read about things you're passionate about, it keeps you engaged and makes the whole learning process more enjoyable. It's like a personalized language learning adventure.
Exactly. Once you've found your perfect reading material, then it's time to explore some effective strategies to really maximize your learning.
Okay. So it's not just about how much you read,
Right.
but also how you engage with the text. Our sources suggest some great techniques, like reading aloud, underlining new words, guessing the meaning of words from context, and even using audiobooks. What are your thoughts on reading aloud?
Reading aloud is a fantastic way to work on your pronunciation and fluency. It forces you to slow down, pay attention to each word, and really connect with the sounds of the language.
I find that it also helps me get a feel for the rhythm and intonation of English sentences, which can be tricky.
And it's a great way to practice speaking without the pressure of having a conversation with someone else. You know?
It's like having a conversation with the author.
Yeah.
You're bringing the words to life and really engaging with the text on a deeper level.
I like that. And then there's underlining new words or phrases. That's a simple but really effective way to build your vocabulary.
It's like you're creating your own personal dictionary as you go.
Exactly. But instead of just writing down the definition, try to use the word in a sentence of your own. That helps solidify the meaning in your mind and makes it more likely that you'll remember it.
So it's about making those new words your own,
Yes,
not just memorizing a definition.
exactly. And another really valuable skill to develop is guessing the meaning of words from context.
This is so important for any language learner.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of reaching for the dictionary every time you see a new word, you can actually train your brain to figure out the meaning based on the other words around it.
It's a more natural way to learn vocabulary. And it also improves your critical thinking skills.
It's like you're a language detective, you know, gathering clues and piecing together the meaning.
I love that. And then there's audiobooks. They're fantastic for improving your listening comprehension as well as your pronunciation and intonation.
And they're great for multitasking. You can listen while you're commuting, exercising, doing chores.
Yeah, it's a win-win. You're immersing yourself in the language while getting other things done.
Now, I know what some listeners might be thinking. This all sounds great in theory, but how do I actually make reading a habit? Life gets busy. It's easy to let those good intentions slip away.
You're absolutely right. That's where consistency comes in. Our sources really emphasize the importance of making reading a regular part of your routine, just like brushing your teeth or having your morning coffee.
Right.
It's got to be a habit.
And they actually offer some practical tips to help you make that happen.
Yeah.
Like setting realistic goals for yourself.
Exactly. You don't need to start with a huge 500-page novel. Even just 10 or 15 minutes of reading each day can make a big difference over time.
And it's about finding a time that works for you and sticking to it. Maybe it's first thing in the morning during your lunch break or right before bed.
It's about creating a little ritual around reading so it feels like a natural part of your day.
And if you need some extra motivation, you could always join a book club.
Oh, yeah. Book clubs are great. They help you stay accountable. You get to share your thoughts and insights with others. And you might even make some new friends who share your love of reading.
It's like having a built-in support system for your language learning journey.
Uh,
And of course, we can't forget about technology.
oh, technology is a game changer.
There are so many amazing apps and websites out there.
There really are.
platforms like Kindle Link, Wattpad. They all offer huge libraries of books, articles, even interactive stories, specifically designed for English learners. You can totally customize your reading experience based on your level, your interests, your goals.
It's like having a personal language tutor right in your pocket.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to mix things up.
Oh,
Variety is the spice of life, and it's also the key to staying engaged with your reading.
I completely agree.
One day you might be totally absorbed in a historical fiction novel. The next day you're catching up on current events with a news article. And the day after that, you're diving into a blog post about your favorite hobby.
It's all about keeping your brain stimulated and exposed to a wide range of vocabulary and writing styles.
So to sum it all up, reading is an incredibly powerful tool for improving your English skills. It's a natural and enjoyable way to learn, and it works on so many different levels.
It expands your vocabulary, improves your grammar, enhances your pronunciation, boosts your comprehension, and even helps you to think in English more naturally.
And the best part is there are so many amazing resources available to you no matter your level or your interests.
The key is to make reading a habit. Find what you enjoy and embrace the journey.
All right, so I want to leave you with a thought-provoking question.
Okay.
What one book or article could you start reading today to kickstart your English learning journey?
It could be an old childhood favorite, a book that's been on your list forever, or even just a short article about something that you're really curious about.
Whatever it is, take that first step and let the magic of reading unfold.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear what you choose. So share your pick with us in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going. Happy reading, everyone.
Happy reading!